The Orlando Magic are a team that are just flat out stuck in the middle. If there's a perfect example of a team just in the middle, it is the Orlando Magic. They are sort of good enough to make the playoffs, they benefit from a weak Eastern Conference, but they aren't bad enough to just tank and be horrible. Jonathan Isaac is going to miss the entire 2021 season for torn ACL, and I want this team to tank. But knowing this team, they are most likely going to push for a playoff spot, and if they do get it, they'll get bounced in the first round and rinse and repeat. I don't really want to talk bad about them, but they will last a lot longer competing long term if they add in another young piece, especially in that 2021 NBA draft. If there is a time to tank, it is now. This team already has the identity of being a good defensive team. Still needs to grow offensively and get more shooting on the team, but Steve Clifford should be commended on how he at least is able to get this team to the playoffs and be competitive. Even though they go down in gentlemen's sweeps, but better than just getting swept, I guess. He has really been able to help put together a defensive system that has been the team's identity and has really been able to get the most out of them on that end. Markelle Fultz, I covered him on this channel, and his career is far from over. His only main hole right now is his three-point shot, but every other part of his game he has shown potential. Strong player, can drive inside, has a mid-range game, can play make, and can play defense. Fultz is a guy who I can see at least be a borderline all-star level player, and he can take that next leap this season. Nikola Vucevic is the guy that keeps this team competitive, a 20 and 10 big, very good scorer. Defense can be better, but he has been the piece that makes the Magic competitive. Then they have shooting threats in Terrence Ross and Evan Fournier. I expect Fournier to be shopped in due time, like seriously, it's time to go. Isaac's injury does hurt this team because he is easily their best defensive player and has crazy potential. When Isaac is healthy, I can honestly see multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards in his future. He is just great on that end. James Ennis's defense really helps his team. Does need to be a better offensive player, but his defense really makes him valuable for this team. Then they got Aaron Gordon, who we have been waiting for a long time to just break out. I have no idea what his future is with this team, but he is a really good defensive player, and his offensive game is pretty solid to the point where I can see him be a 20 points per game scorer. I think he's capable of that. I think this team can evaluate Aaron based on how he progresses this season. If he can't take that next step, then it may be time to move on from him. And that may be okay because there's a guy already lined up with the potential to replace him in Chuma Okeke, who I will talk about later. Mohamed Bamba is still on this team, and he has been a project player for the Magic, hoping one day he can replace Vucevic and be a defensive anchor. Vucevic is a great player, but he just doesn't fit the timeline of this team. Bomba, we probably won't see him in the preseason, and it's unknown when he will play. He was dealing with this right here. But he is getting better, and according to CBS Sports, the Magic hasn't cleared him for contact games, and they are being very cautious with him, hoping all is well with Bomba. They signed Dwayne Bacon in free agency, and he really has to find some groove because he wasn't efficient last season, to put it nicely. The team re-signed Gary Clark, and in the NBA draft, they took Cole Anthony with the 15th pick, and he will be in that backup point guard slot, sharing minutes with Markelle Fultz and Michael Carter-Williams. Then I go into the main guy who I really want to talk about, who I feel can shock a lot of people next season, and that is Chuma Okeke. Okeke was drafted in the 2019 draft as the 16th pick, but he didn't play the 2019-2020 season due to rehabbing a ACL injury. This guy, if everything works out with his health, is another defensive guy who you could plug at the forward positions, and he is going to give you great production on the defensive end. He is always in the right place at the right time, has really good defensive instincts, and he is versatile with who he can guard. He can guard the perimeter and even bigs. His offensive game is good. He can shoot, play inside, and even play make a bit out of the post. If his game translates to the NBA, he's looked to be a two-way player. If Isaac, Bomba, Fultz are the future, then having Okeke there, that defense is going to be very, very scary in the future. But Chuma should get minutes this season, and we'll see how his game plays out. Now, this should be a development type year and an evaluation year to see what the next steps for this team will be and where to go. I really don't want to see this team near the playoffs, and I don't see them as a playoff team due to the Hawks, Wizards rising. I like the core. Cole Anthony seems like a backup now, but if he booms, that can be something big, especially if Fultz doesn't continue to take leaps in his development and he doesn't get that three-point shot. But ideally, this team's future is Fultz, Anthony, Isaac, Bomba, Okeke, and maybe Aaron Gordon. And their role players being Terrence Ross, Khem Birch, Dwayne Bacon, and Michael Carter-Williams. I think this team really needs a good 3-level scorer to complement these guys in the future. But I think the Magic are in a solid position, especially with the playoff experience that they got, and they should be in a good position with their young talent to go into the future without a Vucevic or maybe without an Aaron Gordon and still be successful.